Hello, and we're live. Welcome to episode number 4 of Steel Sturzinger. Unfortunately, Anne is late. She may not be able to make it. As some of you know who have listened to our previous broadcasts, Anne has been working in the adult entertainment industry, and she was presented with an interesting offer this evening to go from behind the scenes to in front of the camera. And she got offered to perform a blow bang or glory hole scene. And the money was too good, and she couldn't say no. So I won't be able to link to that, obviously, because I think it's in violation of the terms of service of YouTube. But it'll be interesting to watch. But anyway,
shit! That's what I was supposed to do tonight.
Yeah. But anyway, my good friend.
That's why I got this text for dude, the other 10 guys are here. Where are you?
Yeah, that was it. They wanted you. So we'll see if Anne joins us and tells us about that. I don't know if she'll be back in time, but anyway, I got my good friend the Beckloff is going to fill in for Anne and to the best of his abilities, and hopefully this will be an entertaining show.
Well, speaking of adult stuff. Real quick side note. I was playing around on my channel trying to get some stuff together to do some gaming streams. And I'm a bit of a tech boomer, so sorting it all out, bit of a pain. But I was going to play some old Atari games, start at the beginning, as it were. That was going to be my first gaming stream. And there's a very interesting game that I played a little bit on the test stream called Beat 'em and Eat 'em. Now, John, I'm going to explain to you the plot of this game.
Okay.
There is a man up on a rooftop who is beating his big old dick off. And you control 2 naked women down below, and your objective is to catch the drops of semen in their mouth before it hits the ground. And this is on the Atari 2600.
This was a real game.
On the Atari 2600, yes. And I mean, the Atari's graphics are so pixelated, I'm not even worried about showing it on YouTube. But it looks like a midget with a foot-long dick. It's up on the roof.
Yeah, 4-bit graphics were pretty intense. Yeah,
that's you talk about something that needs an HD remake on modern systems. But yeah, that's an actual game somebody made for some reason.
That's pretty funny. And this
I've played
Atari, that was when they had the cartridges, right?
Yeah.
And someone actually, that's man, that's a lot of effort to try to get your freak on in 8-bit graphics.
There's another game called Custer's Revenge where you play as General Custer.
And that one I heard of. I heard that.
Yeah, you fucking Indian chick up against the cactus.
The reason I remember that was it was actually when I was a little kid. That was on the news.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that pissed some people off.
Yeah, and it made this is back when I lived in New York City, and that was on the news. And because I didn't own a 2600. But I do remember I had friends who did, and I remember that was on the news. That was like a big, big controversy, but it
was a little bit before my time. I mean, I was born in '83, so I was 2 when the NES came out. I mean, I had older cousins and all that had Atari, but I never had one myself.
Yeah, well, I'm ancient, so I remember that stuff. I don't even know how old I was when that was, but I don't know. 11 or something, maybe. I
don't believe any of my cousins had Beat 'em and Eat 'em, though.
No, I don't. Probably not. That one I never heard of. I'm surprised.
That may be the weirdest video game plot I've ever encountered. And I mean, it's a video game plot. It's video games where I'll accept, okay, I'm a 3-foot-tall anthropomorphic hedgehog fighting robots. Fine, I'll accept that. But this is the weirdest video game plot. Yeah, there's a guy on a roof beating off, and you got to catch it in your mouth.
How do you win or lose? How do you get killed? How many?
If you let a drop hit the ground, you lose.
Well,
it's one of those arcade style games where it just keeps going and you're going for a high score.
Okay. Well, no, well, I don't believe that. Ladies, if you're listening, you shouldn't let it hit the ground. You should.
I think in the Bible it tells you don't let your seed hit the ground. So this is it's a good Christian game when you get down to it.
Oh God. Oh boy. Okay. Well, you said that, not me. Okay. So you good Christian folks can't come after John Steele. That's all on the Beckloff. But like I said, because Anne's busy working, if you can call it that. So I am curious to see the video because she has bragged about her oral talent. So I wonder if they translate well to film. But I guess we'll probably talk about a little bit of the news because, just because. Now the Turning Point USA stuff has been going on. I understand there was a Turning Point USA event where they actually had to cancel the Q&A of the Groypers.
You see these guys, they're all prepared for a punch from the left. They know exactly what to say when some socialist teenager asks them, "Oh, why can't we just all share?" Yeah, they know exactly what to say to that. But when somebody asks them, "Hey, why are we giving a lot of money to Israel?" for example, that's obviously the big one they harp on. They also discuss demographics and moral issues like gay agenda, that sort of stuff. They hit them from the right with those questions. But the Israel one's the big one, and that's the one that they just have absolutely no answer to. Not even a bad answer. They just really sit there rambling on like an NPC in a video game. There's no better analogy. And they don't know what to do about that. They're mad about it. Guys like Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, good old one-eye pirate Dan Crenshaw, they're all very, very unhappy with this situation. And it's not going to go away. Like they're trying to really go after Nick Fuentes hard because he got that snowball rolling, and it doesn't matter. I mean, they could show him off the internet. They could have him assassinated, and it wouldn't matter because this is out of his hands at this point.
Yeah, well, it's taken on its life of its own. But quickly, Oogie Boogie commented in the chat, with the compelling plot, it's a Marvel Custer's Revenge never got with the compelling plot, it's a Marvel. I thought he was saying Marvel the comic. It's a Marvel Custer's Revenge never got a film adaptation. Actually,
well, I like to think of Custer's Revenge as a prequel to Red Dead Redemption. I think it's all canon with each other.
Yeah, that's fair. But back to the Nick Fuentes thing. Like I was being trollish actually the other day on Twitter about Nick Fuentes because he is a trad cat, right? He's very big into the whole. He believes you people are heathens. I believe you non-Catholics, you've left the one true church. It is true that he actually has a sister that's a lesbian or at least, is a lesbian, and had a black girlfriend.
That's just going to piss off everybody in his audience.
I was just wondering, because he was like, "Oh, you're going to hell," and I was like, "Well, does that mean like I get to hang with your sister, or I don't know?"
You get to watch her get blacked.
Yeah, I get.
It's not gay if you watch her with a black girl. So
watching Nick's sister go black. So
now, where's the Atari game based on that? Is my question.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the movie, but or at least the Pornhub clip. But anyway, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. I was on Poll, and there's all this stuff about his sister, and I was just wondering if that was true. And
I don't know. I don't follow Nick Fuentes very. Like, I'll catch clips of him on like little clip channels, but I don't really watch his stuff directly. I often joke that he's my favorite of the trad Catholics because he's at least pro-America. He's at least not heavily autistic about it. But I mean, being my favorite of the trad Catholics is. It's like being the smartest kid in summer school to me. So
So what are you saying? It's like him or David Serini? That's kind of
Yeah, I'm just. I mean,
well,
but yeah, I don't really watch his stuff that much. I mean, I love this line of questioning. There's so many places you can go with this, and it's just the Israel stuff. Like, I mean, I would love to just ask a simple question, and I mean, I don't even consider myself a white nationalist or anything like that, but just ask one of these guys. Explain to me why white nationalism is not only not okay, but it's something that's so bad it must never be discussed in polite society, and anyone who even entertains the idea must be punished. But Jewish ethno-nationalism is something that cannot be questioned in polite society.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. I think we were talking privately about that. There's such hypocrisy to it. But one of the things I wanted to point out was, you had this Crenshaw guy pegged way back when, before he's totally come out and
I freely admit that when he first came out, I kind of liked him because like there was a great style to his early campaign. Like there was a certain smug trollish quality to him, and there was like a commercial where like he did some. I can't remember if it was an official campaign act, but he literally stood there with his eye patch, looking like as the one comedian put it, a hitman in a porno movie, which is not a bad thing to look at, like really. But he cuts an orange and like eats the slice right off of his knife, kind of thing, and he's looking all badass, going "My freedom," and like you hear an eagle screech or something. I'm like, that is so cool in a corny G.I. Joe Saturday morning cartoon way. I love it. But then the more I heard out of him, the more like it was early on. He started on in some neocon shit, and I'm like, oh Dan, you're breaking my heart here. And it wasn't like more than a couple months into it, I'm like, oh man, this guy sucks.
Yeah, well, it was kind of heartbreaking because there was something about the guy where you kind of wanted to like him, and then you find out his politics, and you're like, you're like John McCain, minus 60 years, and it's it was kind of heartbreaking. I mean, and when I saw, like, did you see the Q&A he did? It was out in the open. It must have been was it at Arizona or California? I don't know, or maybe Texas. I don't know. And Baked Alaska was filming there, and how they had they vetted the line to make sure that only their people got to ask the questions.
Oh, what a bitch move! Like it really is amazing how much these guys turn into just absolute everything they criticize. Oh, the left! How dare the left just throw a label on me and wave me away? And as soon as you're like, hey, maybe I don't think we should suck Israel's dick, you're an anti-Semite, you're alt-right, you're white. You know what? It doesn't matter if the person asking that question is all of those things. It doesn't matter if the person asking that question is the devil himself crawled out of the netherworld merely to ask you an uncomfortable question, Dan. It's still answer the fucking question. How about that?
Yeah, and that's what's so frustrating about it. And they, there was a couple of guys who really had their questions prepared really well, and that's like back to Nick Fuentes. That's where I kind of did some research about him now because of this. All these groypers are they're kind of Nick fans, and a few of them had their questions really spot on, like well thought out, very well articulated, not preachy. They weren't like overly passionate about it, just laying it out. And he immediately says, oh, you're an anti-Semite, you just hate Israel, you're a BDS. What was that?
I don't even know what that term meant. He kept saying BDS.
Oh, it means boycott. The B is for boycott. The D is something.
Okay. Well, when you say that to me, I keep waiting for the M. So I don't.
I tell you,
I'm going in a completely different direction than you there, Dan.
No, it means to boycott. To I forget the D and the S is to sanction.
Well, who cares if they are though? They like. It shouldn't matter. These are the people that went on all the time, and they kept saying to these liberals, like, "Stop trying to label me. Stop trying to just answer the question. It doesn't matter if I'm all these things. Answer the question. The question is valid? Answer it. And that was the one clip I remember. He's like, "Oh, another one of these guys," and then you heard people in the crowd just screaming like, "Answer the question!" And you know what? These guys, they think they can wave it away, but it's just going to keep getting worse until they can't show their face in public. But even there, I mean, if someone has an afternoon to kill and you can bullshit your way past the screener, you can call into Ben Shapiro's show. He has a talk radio show now. I assume he takes callers. I haven't been able to stomach sitting through a whole episode of his show because life is too fucking short. But I assume at some point he takes callers. If you got a free afternoon, you can get in there. I mean, like, it's not going to stop. If they think they're going to stop it, like I said, they could silence Fuentes. They could throw me off the internet. They could throw Fuentes off the internet. They could throw anyone to the right of Joseph Stalin off the internet. It doesn't matter. It's not going to go away. No one under 30, left or right, feels like cutting all these checks to Israel all the time.
No, I agree. Ogie Boogie says, to be fair, wanting to keep Baked Alaska away is just good optics.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'd let Baked Alaska into any area I control.
BDS was boycott, divest, sanction. Thank you, Oogie Boogie.
Yeah, again, that's not where I go when you start saying that.
Yeah, yeah. This is back in when you were engaged in the dark arts.
Yeah, the dark arts.
The dark arts. You went to the dark side of the force for a little while there.
Yeah,
and you got pulled back. You saved Luke and threw the Emperor down that shaft.
Yeah, that would have. If I'd asked that question, you're BDS. I'm like, how do you know about my personal life?
Well, yeah, I'm just into the bondage and the discipline, not the S and the M. But anyway, well, we can talk about retard sex. Is anything in the news? Oh, yeah, that was funny. We were on the Discord. God, when was this? With the vibrators. Remember that we were looking up vibrators because the show that I did with Ann, and there was a vibrator, and we had no idea how it worked.
Oh yeah, there was something I can't remember what it was, but I looked at it. I'm like, I don't know what you do with this.
It was like, how is this a set? Like the shape of it was like I was always thinking like a Court Chester's hat. Like it went.
Yeah, it was just like 3 prongs going in different directions or something. And I'm like, what Star Trek alien is using this to get off?
Yeah, right. Well, I was thinking like like tentacle porn or something. I was like, how it is, this is not for humans. This is, is this for use or ornament? Like but anyway, it was funny because on another website, they actually had a sketch showing how it was to be used, because if you look at it, it doesn't make sense. It would scare people away. And actually, wasn't it like some outrageous sum, like $230 or something like that?
Yeah, all of them on that site was insane. Like $200 to $300 for one of them. And I mean, okay, I guess. That's a lot of money to masturbate. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's well, then again, though, they say that the female orgasm is a lot more pleasurable than the male, and I kind of tend to agree with that. I think that women do have the edge in there. How do I say that they get more pleasure out of it than we do? Because I don't know about you, but like when I've had an orgasm, I've never passed out or seen God or that's never happened to me.
You know what has legitimately been almost as pleasurable as an orgasm to me at times? You know how like after you come, then suddenly you have like a lot of times you have to like piss like a racehorse, and that's your body just naturally wants to clean out your system and stuff like that. But there's been times where I swear to God, that's almost as good.
It's just that leak where you
the post nut leak is almost on par.
Well, especially like when you've been drinking and and then you fuck and then you take that leak, and That's kind of like those long leaks you take where I don't know if you ever had this experience where you're not sure how close you are to being done.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Like usually, normally when you take a leak, like like I'm at the beginning, the middle, of the end.
Yeah, this is just going on.
You're not sure how long you're going to be there.
It's like that Austin Powers bit when he got out of the suspended animation.
Yeah. Oh, that's old. Yeah, I've got. That's there is this weird. Well, they're both like a release, I guess you could say.
Yeah, honestly, that delightful moment of post nut clarity is probably on par with an orgasm.
Well, it depends who you're in bed with. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been hogging.
Well, yeah, I guess if you're, I guess if that post nut clarity is full of regret, it's not quite so nice. But
no, it's horrifying. I mean, I haven't experienced it in years, but I think not any, but most men have at one time gone hogging, and then as soon as you get that clarity, you're like, what the?
I've had the regretful one where it's like you're hooking back up with an ex-girlfriend, and it's not that she's bad looking, it's that she's bad for you. This is a mistake. And then it's like, afterwards you just roll back over and you realize, okay, well, in the light of post nut clarity, I kind of hate this person.
Well, I mean,
if I could bottle that, I swear to God, if I could bottle post nut clarity, if I could turn that shit on like a switch, just
how much my life I would have be different if I could do that. Like every once in a while, like just do a shot of that to, if
you could just turn your sex drive completely off, like Data turning his emotion chip off in the fucking TNG movies, just all right, that's done. I would turn it back on at will, but just
I would have saved years out of my life. I mean, all the mistakes that I've made because of, especially when I was younger. My God, the amount of energy. I was actually talking to someone else about that earlier. Like in your 20s, your desire to get laid is this. It's almost like I don't want to. I'll just call it demonic possession because it's like it overwhelms your. It's your hindbrain taking over your cerebral cortex.
I don't know how some of these kids, and I know I'm just old enough now. I don't get I don't really get the environment some of these kids are in. The teenagers right now, the young adults kind of thing, early 20s, late teenagers kind of thing. But I don't know how some of these guys, if they're like an involuntary virgin and they're into their 20s, God, into their 30s even, I can't imagine what that's like for some of these guys. And no wonder they get so spurgy and go down so many internet rabbit holes and, end up at goon rallies fighting somebody because they fucked your mother-in-law or something. Like, no wonder that happens to these kids because I just can't imagine what that's like for them.
Well, actually, I was talking about that with someone. I don't have their permission to say it, but I was talking about with someone actually this afternoon about how I have a theory. I mean, there's no way to prove this, but one of the reasons we're seeing like a huge amount of people, in let's say college age, 18 to 22 or whatever, all of a sudden, becoming hyper Christian. I think that's, and I don't mean this to be cruel to them, but I think a lot of it is a cope, because I mean, when I was that age, I mean, dude, if these guys could get pussy, you can't turn down pussy at that age. Your brain doesn't work that way.
I honestly think that, it really feels like, and I hate to sound like the 30-year-old boomer over here, but it really feels like everyone I talk to under the age of 25, unless they're just in a good, steady relationship, unless they're lucky enough for that, they have such a ridiculously unhealthy approach to success or to sex. Sorry. Sometimes the same thing. But no, to sex, where it's like they're either the absolute degenerate coomer, who follows porn stars under a Twitter account that has their real name on it. You know what I mean? Or they're the guys like Like, look, if you find the No Nut November thing helpful, good for you. But the guys going on about it all the time, like, I'm sorry, man. I think you sound like a Spurg. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I hear guys going on, I'm doing No Nut November because I'm saving my masculine energy. And I'm like, I've never found jerking off to be that much of a drain on my energy. I got to tell you that, buddy. I have never found an orgasm to be that, unless it's like my fifth or sixth one in the night. I have never found it to be exhausting. Okay. So if you're jerking off so much that like you're lethargic as a result of it, then yeah, I guess you need to cut it out. But why were you doing that in the first place? Is my question. Like, and when they're going on about like masculine energy, it sounds like, I don't know if you ever followed the Chris Chandler, that very famous internet autist, but he at one point grew convinced that jerking off depleted his masculine energy, so he decided to start eating his own cum to regain it.
Oh, Jesus, I didn't need to know.
So,
oh, God.
To me, when you're going on about that stuff, I'm like, you were treading some dangerous thought waters there, buddy. Like, I've seen some roads this goes down. You need to chill.
If you're like at that young age, 18, 19, 20, 21, to go a month without busting a nut, whether it's, by your own hand or somebody else's or, whatever, that's not normal. I mean, you need to get the poison out at that age.
I mean, you can make arguments about porn addiction and porn's not that good for you and stuff like that, and that's fine. I understand that. But at the same time, again, I hate to sound like an old man here, guys, but did you know, kids, little pro gamer tip for you. Did you know you could jerk your dick off without looking at porn?
Yeah.
I didn't know, like, back in my day, I had to use my imagination.
But yeah, I mean, when I had to walk uphill to school both ways in 6 feet of snow, and I had to jerk off in the lingerie section of the Sears catalog.
I don't know what to tell you guys. Look, if you think it's helpful for you, I'm not trying to take it away from you. I don't really care what you do, but like when you're going on about it, I'm just sitting here like, boy, I wish Facebook had an eye roll reaction.
You should make that. Yeah, make that emoji on your Discord.
Yeah, I mean, the opposite of error is often still an error, and you're just doing the opposite of the Coomer. And I don't.
By the way, I just learned that word this week.
I love that meme. It's hilarious. The Coomer. Oh, there's a dude on Twitter who and he looks like somebody I used to associate with, who I promised I wasn't going to pick on this month, if that person was like dying of AIDS. Like he looks like bald and sickly and ghoulish, and this guy's on Twitter, and he sort of inspired the Coomer meme because he like goes to adult film conventions and gets his picture.
He was underneath like the black.com.
I think he was one of those guys too. Like he's like get his picture taken with all these professional ladies, and and this is just his face on his Twitter account. It's just his Twitter account. I think it was like linked to his other social medias and shit. It's like, dude, I can't imagine. What do you go to a porn convention for? Like, I've gone to comic book and video game conventions, but the primary thing you do there is you shop. Because you have a certain hobby where you're collecting certain things, and you're looking for those oddball, hard to find things, maybe something you've never even heard of that catches your eye, whatever. And maybe you sit in on a panel or something and hear some creator talk about stuff. But what do you do at a porn convention? Are you just buying DVDs of porn? What are you?
You're looking for those odd things.
You're looking for the odd dildo? What are you doing there? What do you do at a porn convention?
I don't know. Do they sell autographs or you like to?
I guess, but that's like I said, it's at a regular a nerd convention. That's such a small part of it. Like I've had people sign things at nerd conventions. I have a copy of Tobin Spirit Guide signed by Ernie Hudson. And I'd like to get the other Ghostbuster actors that are still alive to sign it too if I could. That's cool. That's fine. Whatever. But that's never the main thing at one of those conventions. So I'm just what are the vendors selling at a porn convention? I guess is my question. I guess dildos.
I don't think it's DVDs because I don't really think that everything is download now. So I don't think it's DVDs. So I honestly don't know. I mean, is it just? I don't know. That's a good question. Is anyone in the audience know what the fuck they?
Dude, what do you do there? I mean, conventions are generally areas to shop, and I mean, I've not just nerd stuff. I've been to gun shows, gun conventions, and it's just a bunch of people selling guns and bullets and shit like that. So again, what is everyone selling at the porn convention?
Well, I don't know if I ever told you this, but when in the '90s, I went to DEF CON, the hacker convention.
Okay, well, what was going on there?
Well, that wasn't like there was like no. This is there was no selling and stuff, but it was like I met it was kind of fun because I was really young at the time. I was like 24 or something, but I met all these really cool people. I met guys. I don't know how much you know about computer programming, but the guys who used to program in COBOL, and I was meeting these old timers who were talking about in the punch card days. That's how programming was done.
Damn.
Those the punch cards, these guys were literally boomers and plus that. And there was one guy I met there that was actually was he in Defense Intelligence Agency or I forget what it was. I mean, it was kind of cool. I met really interesting people. So it was more like a networking kind of a thing, and it was that's kind of what it was. And it was the convention itself was really cheap. I mean, to get into it, I mean, I spent way more money for the hotel than I did for the
I guess maybe these guys just want to meet these porn stars that bad. What in God's name why? I don't look, there's been porn stars I've thought were really hot over the years. But what am I going to say to him? You know what I mean? I jerked off to you.
Yeah.
Now do you want to shake my hand? What do you want to...
I really liked your work in Gangbang 15. That was, that was a stellar performance you gave there.
I mean...
And
hello, sweetie. You suck a mean dick as you're shaking her hand. What are you supposed to... I don't understand.
Well,
I don't even know what to say to an actor or something if I get him to sign it. You know what I mean? Some guys that kind of spurg out, they want to grapple on, and I always feel like I'm wasting their time. So I'm just hey man, really like your work. Get you to sign something, and that's it. But but that's not the main reason I go. So I guess I could understand, kind of I love your work, Riley Reid. Would you please sign this? But then what do you do the rest of the time you're there? Do you have to listen to Riley Reid rap? Because please no.
That was pretty funny when you played that. What was the thing she was saying? Corn nigga,
cornbread fuck nigga. That's poetry right there.
Well, the other thing that's really creepy about the porn convention, quote unquote, is all the creepy fucks that would be there.
Oh, man. Can you imagine? Look, I've been to nerd conventions and there's been some creepy dudes there. There's been some smelly dudes there. All right. There's been some times. I remember specifically a comic book convention. I'm there with my buddy, and we found this really nice back issue bin where we're just finding a bunch of stuff we were looking for. And this one, basically as fat as you can be without a rascal, wanders next to us, and I mean smelled just BO ass, a garbage pile all mixed together, and we had to just grab what we had, pay, and leave, even though we were finding lots of stuff not worth it anymore. We got to go to another stand. So I can't imagine how creepy, how disturbing, and how bad some of these coomers got to smell at a porn convention.
Yeah, because I mean, you gotta guess that this is the first time they've been out of their basement since last year's porn convention. I mean, so they probably don't have any. Can you imagine shaking their hands?
Oh God, no.
No, but speaking of like nerd conventions, I don't know if British James ever told you the story about his dad is a huge Star Trek fan,
Mhm.
and there was a Star Trek convention in Britain, and his
Oh
dad took
yeah,
him
this.
to it when he was a kid, and he met
Yeah,
Avery Brooks, the
yeah,
captain,
Cisco.
yeah, Captain Cisco from DS9, and apparently I forget how old British James was at the time, but well, he's young now, but at the time, I guess he was like 10 or 11 or something.
Yeah, he had
And,
like food on his hand. His hand was all sticky or something.
yeah, he had been eating like an ice cream pop or something. It got like all sticky, and they were waiting in line to get the dad wanted the photograph or the signed copy or something, and waiting in line. And Avery Brooks offers to shake his hand, and James is, he's hesitant, but he's shy and he's young. He doesn't know what to do, and he's and so it was kind of awkward because it was like, well, is he not shaking his hand because he's black, or
Oh yeah.
So it was like, the guy just says, I'll just shake. James said, oh, well, I don't want. He goes, just shake my hand, kid, and he shakes it. He had all that. So he gave him all the sticky stuff. And then he said when they walked away, he just saw Avery Brooks like rubbing his hands, asking someone for a towel.
Yeah. Now imagine that at the porn convention.
Right. Well, at least with with British James, it was only like a popsicle or something. It was, God knows what was on their hands, But yeah, the porn convention thing is weird, and the Coomer guy. I didn't see that meme. I know the guy that you're talking about because I saw him in. I think it was on one of your streams.
I just imagine these guys. Like I cannot imagine it.
Yeah, it's pretty frightening. But that's kind of circles back to what we were talking about. How there's this huge segment of the male population now where they've pretty much given up, right? I mean, that's all they have left in life is to basically just whack it. But what's really sad about this, like from a societal level, is they have no incentive to do anything more in life than basically just keep the lights on and be able to pay for their internet connection. Because you know what I mean? Like they have no incentive. Like they know they're never going to get a girlfriend or anything like that. So like why bother?
I guess, man. I just can't. I can't imagine like how you look yourself in the mirror. Like how do you? Like they're not even like a Quagmire who's just like the guy on Family Guy who's just this sexually liberated pervert. Because yeah, Quagmire would go to a porn convention and wouldn't care, but Quagmire also fucks women. You know what I mean? Like they're not that Hugh Hefner just kind of liberated hedonist that doesn't care. Like they're the laziest kind of hedonist. It's like they just jerk their dick off in their basement Cumin to Riley Reid and then eat a hot pocket and go to bed or whatever it is they do. You know what I
mean? Yeah, I'm guessing that's pretty much what their life is like. But at the same time, what options would these guys have?
I don't know.
It kind of goes back to the whole the whole sexual market value, the 80-20 thing and the whole thing. And I realize, I mean, this guy seemed older, but I mean, from what I understand from, I feel fucked up like giving like young guys or not giving them advice, but like criticizing them because I can't relate to, what the dating scene is like for college age guys right now. But from like what I'm hearing, it's just tragic. I mean, it's just awful.
I don't know. I don't get it. I wonder if some of it is a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy where you think it's really bad and then or it just keeps spiraling in on itself. But I don't know with some of these guys. I mean, I don't get it. I was a shy, awkward nerd who kept to himself and only had a few friends, and I still did okay. I don't I used to say that, for every shy, awkward nerd, isn't there a cute goth girl with daddy issues? Like, I mean, I don't know what to tell these guys anymore. I guess it was different. I guess I'm old enough now. I can say it was different. Early 2000s, I guess, mostly when I was in high school, I guess it was different.
I think it is. I mean, because if it's not, we're kind of saying that, oh, we're better than these guys, and I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna act like I'm some sort of Chad Thundercock. I was out there crushing puss all the time, but I mean, some puss was crushed.
Right. Yeah, well, 2 at once. You told me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, before I was done high school, I talked to my redhead girlfriend, and maybe your cute little blonde friend joins us. And how'd you do that? I don't know. I asked.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how. Believe me, if I could, I wish I could do it on command.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. I just asked. What do you?
Yeah, but nowadays, nowadays, if you ask something like that, you'd be arrested. But,
well, yes, I'm not allowed to ask 17-year-old girls anymore for a threesome. That's correct. The judge was very clear about that.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, even if it was a 17-year-old guy asking them nowadays, he'd be locked up. But I mean, something has to be wrong if you're having I don't know the guy's name, the guy that was in Toronto that he was a virgin and he freaked out. And you had everybody knows about the Elliot Roger thing and stuff like that. This shit never happened when we were in high school.
Yeah, kids. I mean, I remember the Columbine thing when I was in high school, but that's because these were 2 kids who were relentlessly picked on all the fucking time, and I got picked on too. I know that sucks, but
it wasn't about getting laid. It was about
Yeah, it was about a whole school of sociopaths were fucking with them, and they had enough, and they went all Joker on that Tonight Show thing with them. But yeah, I never understood that. Like, well, you just can't get laid. It's like I guess I don't get it, man. I guess I really don't get what it's like for these kids. I don't get what's holding them back. I don't get what's stopping them all.
Well, another thing I was reading. This is a while back, but I was reading that there's a forum for incels, and they said it's not about. Well, I mean, it is about getting laid, but that's not the main thing because you can always pay to get laid. That's not it. It's the idea of not being able to have a connection with the woman, like to be like quote unquote invisible to women.
Yeah, to not be in love. I get that.
Yeah, like it's not like a sex thing. It's the idea of just being like, a non-person.
I often thought with a lot of and not all of them obviously, but a lot of the hardcore manosphere, men's rights, MGTOW guys and all, and the instant you're a virgin, oh, you never get laid. I look at them more and I'm like, you've never been in love, have you? Like, even some of the guys that were successful in getting lots of pussy, I still look at them kind of sadly and I'm like, you've honestly never been in love, have you? Like, you've never looked over at a woman in a moment of post-nut clarity and be like, I'm glad she's here. I love that woman. Like, you've never had that. And that's sad.
Yeah, but I'm of two minds on the MGTOW thing because I think there is one group of MGTOWs who are guys that did have that were married.
Oh yeah, there's the guys that were divorce raped too. I'm just a lot of them. A lot of the, like I said, not all of them, but there's definitely a section in a lot of those groups where you just look at them and you're like, and again, I could even point to some of them. I'm not going to name names because I'm not trying to attack people, but who have had quote unquote success with women. You know what I mean? Been crushing lots of puss, but it's still never like you never actually, you never had a connection with any of them, did you? That's kind of sad. Like, I mean, yeah, crushing puss is fine, but I can jerk off. You know what I mean? Like the actual orgasm, I do not need another human being for. I figured out how to do that on my own at a relatively young age, I might add. I figured that out. Like, oh, this is just, I see. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's it though. It is that feeling, that connection, and I think that's what's causing all this incel rage, or I don't know what the meme is to describe it now, but I think that's where that's coming from.
Yeah, I don't get what's holding them all back. I don't get it with these damn kids. I don't understand what y'all's problem is. I get that you fed a lot of horse shit. I get that there's all the rape culture stuff, and the men are afraid to talk to women. Women are afraid to talk to men. I get all that, but it's like, I don't know. I don't understand it. Like I said, I grew up in a relatively I was in a relatively conservative high school. Pretty conservative area, pretty conservative high school. I mean, we got the bullshit Christianized fucking sex ed about, your dick's going to fall off if you look at a woman kind of thing. And, you're going to die of the cancer AIDS if you, but still, I mean, I had a little rebellious Catholic schoolgirl, ex-Catholic schoolgirl that I found a connection with, and we just had all sorts of fun, and we were young and in love. And I'm like, and it wasn't like I was lucky and nobody else had that. Everybody had that. Everybody was pairing off left and right. I mean, everybody was having. It just wasn't. It wasn't a big fucking deal.
No, actually, that's funny you said that. It's true. Like, at the end of high school and college, like everybody seemed to be pairing off. Like everybody, kind of had somebody. Especially like by the time you get to college, like it seemed that even the high school losers were, quote unquote losers, were finding somebody. Like you had said that for every shy guy, there's the goth girl with the daddy issues. That did seem to be the case in my day. I don't know what's happened, but something has happened, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know what these kids are going through at this point, I guess. I mean, like I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get, we're all, we're all fat and we're all fucking out of shape, and we're all spending too much time looking at our phones. I get all these modern problems, but it's like you'll see these guys and they hit the gym and they're in shape, and then they still apparently can't fucking get a woman. And I'm like, what? There's somebody in my Discord who, I mean, he's in the fucking military. He's in shape, he can't. He's always like, oh, these hoes. I can't get any of these women. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't. I mean, is it that we're all these kids are too spurgy? They can't talk to each other? Like, I hate to sound arrogant, but I feel like if I could be in one of these kids' bodies for a week, I'd have a harem by the end of the week. And I don't even claim to have the best social skills about it. But it's like, I don't know what's wrong with them.
Well, that's the question, though. Like, is it wrong? Is there something wrong with them, or is it just something wrong with the whole, the society, the matrix? Like, that's it. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you can just blame the guys.
Well, I'm not totally blaming the guys, but I mean, the society is a collection of us. You know what I mean? Right, so, I mean, there's something collectively wrong with them. Let me put it that way. Not singling anyone out, but there's something collectively wrong with them that I don't know if it's caused by external things. I don't know if it's they're being whatever. I don't understand what it is or what's causing it, but there's something collectively wrong with them. Like, this isn't that hard. Like, go, you and that cute shy girl over there should be fucking. Like, it's not tab A into slot B, repeat as needed. It's not that fucking difficult.
You're right. And we, I figured this shit out before there was, a World Wide Web.
I get it. It's awkward and it's weird at first. No one really likes the first time. At least in my day, bras were complicated to unhook. I get it, but you figure it the fuck out.
Yeah, do you remember the first time trying to figure out the latch in the back of the bra?
Listen, what the fuck is this? Why can't this just be Velcro? What is this?
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? You'd get like one of the two hooks off, and the second one, you'd be like, what the fuck?
It's like 9 hooks back here. What is this?
But yeah, I mean, and we figured it out. Like, so, now now for Christ's sake, you got fucking how-to videos. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, there's some, because I mean, in theory, people should be fucking 10 times more, than they did in our, my generation than your generation.
Yeah, I don't get it. And all this technology to say, like, I mean, again, I'm so old in my day. Like, I had to fucking, without him knowing, borrow my father's Polaroid, and that's how we made some naughty pictures. I didn't have a camera in my pocket. You know what I mean? I didn't have a phone in my pocket. I had to pass notes to my girlfriend in between classes.
Yeah,
handwritten on paper like a fucking caveman.
That's funny, actually. I remember doing the Polaroid thing when I was like 18. That was pretty funny.
Well, we had disposable cameras, but you had to take those to get developed, which
they wouldn't develop them.
So we got a Polaroid.
Yeah, I remember the Polaroids. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can go dig those out. No, I'm teasing. But
everybody has a little strong box under their bed, right?
Yeah, I probably did at one time, but I mean, now we're going back ancient history. Me looking up like my, girlfriend, my 17-year-old girlfriend. So, no, she was 18, so that wouldn't be child porn, right? Anyway, yeah, remember that case with?
Oh, that's the other thing, and you want to talk about what's wrong with them. Part of it is the external pressures, for sure, because like there's cases of little girls and little boys, and I'm just saying little teenagers. They're playing the old "show me yours, I'll show you mine" game with their cell phones, and all of a sudden, one or both is getting charged with child pornography. That's a picture of a 15-year-old's dick. You're not allowed to have that, but I am that 15-year-old. What are you talking about? Like,
no, actually, they got charged. What they
there's been cases where these kids have been charged, and it's like, I mean, look, I did stuff I could have gotten in a lot of trouble getting caught in. My girlfriend and I snuck into the one bathroom at the far end of school that didn't get a lot of traffic and took a few nooners from time to time. And that was pretty stupid and a pretty stupid risk. And both our asses would have been expelled, make no mistake. But I wouldn't have been on the sex offender registry for it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have, like, okay, it would have sucked. But I would have gone to the mall where they had the GED place, and I got my GED and got my life back on track. It wouldn't have destroyed us. You know what I mean? But now you get some overzealous DA or dumb shit like that, and they want to just destroy these kids for, and I guess that's part of it. I guess just this fucking fear that they instill in these kids. And, so the girls just attention whore on social media to get their fix. The guys just they just coom to some porn to get their fix. And, nobody's pairing off like they're supposed to.
Yeah, I guess it's just it's a culmination of just many different factors, I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it does seem to me that it's, if you look at it just by, gender wise, it seems to be that the males are the ones that are really losing out on this, and the women seem to be, I mean, generally speaking, for the most part, the beneficiary.
Well, the males are losing out on it when they're young. The women lose out on this when they're older. There's a balance to this. See, the women they're high on the hog right now. The women, look, they can get sex anytime they want. You know what I got to do to go into a bar and get sex? I got to run my game. You know what a woman's got to do generally if she's a good-looking woman? Go to a bar, pick out a guy you want to fuck, say, hey, I want to fuck you.
I shouldn't have
and
to
you
say
can
that.
probably get some dick.
Yeah.
All right? Dick is cheap. All right? Pussy is expensive. That's how the sexual market goes. All right? Pussy is gold, dick is lead. All right? That's the market values for it. So a woman can get sex whenever she wants, and she can get all that attention on social media. But the problem is, there's a shelf life on that, sweetie. And when you're 50, when you're 60, suddenly that's not as easy. And suddenly you're wishing that maybe you hadn't dated the corporate boyfriend your whole life. Maybe you hadn't been on social media whore in your whole life. So they got their price to pay for it too. It's just they can put it on credit for a lot longer.
Yeah, but
the problem is their price has interest.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, like, the guys, who are 50 or 60. They never. At least the girls, they got pussy. They got dick up until they were 50, and then they could say, okay, well, then they reach an age that unless they're like celebrities that could get all sorts of plastic surgery and shit. Because what's her name still looks. I haven't seen her in a little while, but Jennifer Aniston looked decent, and she was 50. I haven't seen her.
Jennifer Aniston looks damn good for her age.
Yeah, I haven't seen
some
her
women do age very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, she's an exception because
the chick that played Elvira is still smoking hot, and she's like 60.
She's more than that.
But she's in her 60s, I should say.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while, but some women age horribly, like because I don't know if you may never, it might be before your time, but Angelina Jolie, the first time I ever saw her, I didn't even know who she was.
She's not looking good these days. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, she was a sight to behold, but into the mid 2000s, really. But not so much nowadays.
No, I mean, she made a film. The first time I saw it was a film, I think it came out like 95, 96, called Hackers. Yep. And I saw that movie. I mean, the movie sucked and everything, but I just remember seeing it go, this is the most beautiful creature I've ever seen in my life. And she just like, man, what a nose.
Great in those Tomb Raider movies. She looked great in those movies. Hell, I think even as late as that Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie, she was still looking damn fine.
I never saw that.
Was probably like 05, I think that came out.
Now she looks horrible.
Oh shit!
I mean, compared to what she was, it was like, I can't believe it's the same person.
But yeah, the boys are going to pay the bigger price early on, definitely. But I don't know. I guess that's it. I guess everybody's been so afraid to go out there and pair bond that they're just going to get the cheap substitutes, and the cheap substitutes are plentiful. So I don't know what you do about it. I don't look, I shit on the No Nut November guys because they're spurgs about it, but I get wanting to say, okay, this porn is out of control and it's causing problems and all this other stuff. I get that. I just, I don't necessarily know that being spurgs and going on about your masculine energy is necessarily the way to fight that problem.
Just don't watch porn. But I mean, if you have to release, you have to release. But when you're young, you have to let that.
When I was young, I usually jacked off before a date.
Yeah,
it eased up on the desperation, and I always thought, well, and if I do get lucky, I'm going to last longer. So win-win.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, I agree with it as far as if it was just about like just don't watch porn, because I think porn is bad for a number of reasons. I think they've done studies on this that it's especially especially the younger you are when you start watching it, like then it really kind of screws you up.
There's a real addictive quality to it, and there's a rabbit hole quality to it. These guys, they just go further and further down that rabbit hole, and then it's got to be watching my mom go black just to get me to normal.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about pornography is that's why it keeps getting more and more extreme, because you need to get that dopamine hit or whatever it is that it always got to be more extreme than the last thing you watched, and that's that vicious cycle. So before you know it, you're watching tentacle porn or whatever is the new weird freaky fetish shit.
You know what I discovered was a thing, chatting with people in the Discord. We were going through Riley Reid's film history.
Oh, we were talking about that.
And so there was something called JOI. Now maybe this is known to other people, but I looked it up. It's called jack off instructions or jerk off instructions. And
jerk off.
The whole porn is just a POV shot of this girl telling you to jerk your dick off. And I'm like, who needs this? Who asked for this? I don't understand. Like, sweetie, it's okay. I figured that out a long time ago. I got that down pat. Don't you worry. All right.
I'm curious, like, what she gets paid.
At my age, I may have figured that out before some of these bitches were born.
Yeah, Riley. Well, actually, she's not as young as we thought, because
Well, somebody, okay, let me put it this way. If you're 18 years old, I figured that out years before you were gleaming your daddy's eye. I know how to jack off, sweetie.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
But Riley Reid is not 20 years old like she looks. She's one of the few porn stars.
She's a very petite little thing, so that's
yeah.
it's like with them Asian girls, how they age so well because they're just this tiny petite little thing.
Well, I
I
remember
like jack off instructions. Who? What? Why? What is this? It's not even that extreme. It's just so weird. It's just like I don't understand why that's a thing.
Well, my guess is you said well POV
Point of view.
point of view it creates the illusion of intimacy. So by intimate I mean it's just you. So I think that's kind of the sad state of affairs about this. It's like people, it's not even the eroticism they want. They want the connection or the illusion of connection. That's what makes it so sad.
It's a joke I like to make where it's like I paid a hooker for the girlfriend experience. After we had sex, I read comic books while she complained I never took her anywhere.
Yeah, you want yeah. Well, that was
it was nice. It was nice. I liked it.
Well, it used to be that, like, I remember, I don't know if you remember this scandal. You might have been too young, but you at least heard about it. The Heidi Fleiss scandal with Charlie Sheen. And he was one of the few people that actually was caught because he actually paid in checks. So they actually,
That's so dumb.
and he was such a big customer. And they asked him, why did you pay? You're a rich, good looking movie star. Why do you paying for prostitutes? And he said, well, so they'd leave. He said, and it's kind of like the opposite of what people want now. The quote unquote girlfriend experience, like that never used to exist. It's guys are literally going out with prostitutes, not for the sex, but for the to feel like somebody wants them. And that's so sad.
A few years ago, on my stream, we were talking about this thing in Japan where it was basically like the Amazon Alexa, right? But it would have a little hologram at the top of it of an anime girl, and it would be like a little, like, instead of a digital assistant, it's like a digital girlfriend basically. It would also tell you it loves you and all this other dumb shit, right? And I remember at the time thinking, like, this is a really bad sign of social decay, like. And I made the point, I'm like, pornography used to be about the ridiculous fantasy. It used to be the airbrush 10 that barely existed in reality. The dominatrix supermodel beauty queen, as that old pop song said. Just the absolute fantasy kind of thing, right? And now the fantasy is a cute girl that's nice to me.
Yeah, that is sad. That is a sad commentary on society.
The fantasy used to be the Wonder Woman, used to be the goddess, and now it's just the girl next door because even that doesn't exist for you.
Well, that's some suicide fuel for this generation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't get it. I don't get I don't entirely get what's holding y'all back.
Well, like you said, it's a lot of different factors. I don't think it's just one thing, but like I said, part of it is like the guy's fault. I mean, I think because of the social media culture and the smartphones and everything like that, people don't properly learn how to socialize, so everybody seems a little bit aspy. So there is that, and then there's just the way girls can order a guy like on Tinder, like a fucking ordering a pizza. So,
I don't know. I don't get it. There's a million factors for him, but it just seems like this shouldn't be that hard. Like, okay, Sally and Johnny, you should be flirting with each other, and you should, want to fuck. And then after high school, you get married, and like, this isn't like.
Well, actually,
we've been doing this for eons. Why? How did you all fuck this up?
Well, no. Another thing though is the whole idea of what is it? Women under 30 make more money than men under 30. So part of it is there's no there's no desire for women to, get a husband, because what do they need a husband for? Like they'd literally be supporting him. So, and the women that don't make any money, they get all the gimme that's from the government. So, like, why would you want to? What incentive is there for women to pair bond with one man?
Yeah, there's a million different factors, and it's not something that's going to end well for anybody.
No, I was, one way to fix this is if like 50% of the male population like just disappeared. You wake up like the what are those what are those Christian movies like The Rapture,
Left Behind stuff and all.
Yeah, like so if half of all the men disappeared and the women were, that would fix things really quick.
Well, I remember some feminists like back in like 2014 wrote some article like we should get rid of 90% of men, and I just remember thinking, man, that remaining 10% would live like kings.
Yeah, no, if I was one of that 10%, I'd be all for that because
like what, I'm okay with this just for the off chance I win. Yeah, I'm okay with this lottery.
Could you imagine that? Like the shit that would be no, because I don't know if it was you I talked to about this, but like
except that I'm sure most of us would have to be firemen.
But like after World War One, like in France, like the France had the most casualties, even though they technically won. So there was this huge shortage of men, where women literally like be fighting over them, like just fighting over them. Because they had, just because of the numbers,
I heard a theory that part of the reason the boomers are like that is even in their generation, like women outnumbered men a little bit. So the women were just much, much nicer. So, and you all the boomer music and stuff, it's so deferential to women, but you can understand wanting them to put them on a pedestal if all of them are nice and sweet and, great girlfriends and great wives and all that shit.
Well, part of it was just kind of tradition too. Like women realized that they had to get married if they wanted to have any sort of life, because that was, a lot of people make fun of the boomers, like the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like, yeah, they did that until they were like, into their mid-20s, and then they realized, no, now I need to find a man. So that's anyway. So has anything else happened politically that we should cover before we sign out?
Oh, I don't really know. The big story has been the turning point. The Groyper uprising against Conservatism Inc. That's been the big story, and that's not going to end anytime soon. That's far from over. Like they're not.
No, but I think that they will. I mean, I'm not really optimistic about these movements because they figure a way to shut it down, and
they do. But that's why I said it's not going to end anytime soon. But they might figure out a way to shut it down, but it's not going to go well for them for a little while. And what it's going to boil down to is they're going to have to stop doing these Q&As.
Well, they did.
They're going to have to just shut all that crap down. They're going to have to retreat back into a little bubble, and they're going to have to pretend that these questions don't exist, because they don't have an answer for it, and because there is no answer for it.
Because logically inconsistent, and it shows it when they do ask those questions. But anyway, we're going to. First off, I do want to thank the Beck Law for being kind enough to fill in this episode. And we're going to end it here. And hopefully next week, Anne will be back if she hasn't caught typhus or had some other, major tragedy happen to her.
Hopefully someone gets her a towel before then.
Yeah, hopefully someone gets her a towel. But anyway, we got the links to our PayPal and Patreon and an Amazon wish list. And actually, if you look at the Amazon wish list, there's an item on there that Anne wants to review. So I'll just leave it at that. You can go check it out.
Well, I'm going to assume that it's these really nice headphones.
It's something like that. But anyway, thank you everybody for listening, and take care.